Welcome to Plot Summarized, and here is Child's Play 1988. Spoiler alert, viewer beware. On a cold Chicago night in 1988, Detective Mike Norris pursues the Lakeshore Strangler Charles Lee Ray, a fugitive serial killer, before Ray stops to exchange gunfire. After Ray is shot, his getaway driver Eddie Caputo abandons him just as Mike closes in, leaving him no choice but to break into a toy store for refuge. Once inside, Mike fatally shoots Ray before Ray vows to murder both him and Caputo as a form of revenge. Near death, Ray decides to use his knowledge of voodoo magic to transfer his soul into one of the Good Guy brand talking dolls on display. After Ray performs a voodoo chant, the toy store suddenly explodes when it's struck by lightning. And in the rubble, Mike finds Ray's lifeless body lying next to the Good Guy doll. The next day, while opening his birthday presents, 6-year-old Andy Barclay tells his mother Karen that he desperately wants a Good Guy doll, which is currently too expensive for her to afford. Soon after, Karen's best friend Maggie informs her that a homeless man is trying to sell a Good Guy doll outside of their workplace at a lower price, which she immediately investigates for herself. After buying the doll, she gives it to Andy as a surprise, and they learn that the doll's name is Chucky. Later that night, Maggie watches Andy while Karen is forced to work late, and after she puts Andy to bed, she finds Chucky sitting in front of the television, which is showing a newscast about Ray's death. After turning the TV off in the middle of the news story, Maggie is attacked by Chucky, who causes her to fall out of the kitchen window to her death. Moments later, while police search the apartment, Karen returns home to find Mike questioning Andy, as he is considered a prime suspect. Outraged, Karen defends her son Andy, who tells her that Chucky killed Maggie and that his real name is Charles Lee Ray. The next day, Chucky convinces Andy to skip school and take the train downtown, and when they arrive at the home of Caputo, Chucky sneaks inside while Andy is distracted, and he kills Caputo by causing a gas explosion. Later that day at a psychiatric hospital, Andy is once again considered a suspect, and no one believes him when he claims that Chucky is responsible for the murders. That night, Karen returns home with Chucky, and after finding batteries in the doll's box, she discovers that Chucky has been moving and speaking without them. Terrified, Karen lights her fireplace and threatens to burn Chucky, who violently comes alive in her arms and bites her before escaping her apartment. Later that night, Karen tracks down Mike and explains what had just happened. But when he refuses to believe her, she decides to track down the man who sold her the doll instead. A few moments later, on the other side of town, Karen locates the homeless man, hoping to receive more information. However, when he refuses to cooperate, Mike, who followed Karen, arrives and interrogates the man, forcing him to admit that he stole the doll from a burnt-out toy store. After learning this information, Mike explains that he killed Charles Lee Ray inside that exact store, causing Karen to believe that Andy was telling the truth all along. After bringing Karen home, Mike decides to research Ray's criminal files before entering his car, where Chucky attempts to murder him. After his car crashes, Mike shoots Chucky at point-blank range, causing him to flee the scene immediately as he was noticeably injured. The next day, Mike meets with Karen, and after telling her that he believes her, they decide to track down Ray's former voodoo instructor, John. Meanwhile, at John's home, Chucky confronts John, who informs him that the longer his soul remains in the doll, the more human the doll will become, trapping him there indefinitely. After Chucky orders John to reverse the spell, John refuses, which causes Chucky to torture him using his own personal voodoo doll. John then reluctantly tells Chucky that in order to escape the doll's body, he must transfer his soul into the first person to whom he revealed his identity. Now armed with this information, Chucky stabs the voodoo doll in the chest, mortally wounding John before going after Andy. Moments later, Karen and Mike arrive at John's home, where they find him wounded on the floor, and before he dies, he tells them that to kill Chucky, they must strike at his heart. Meanwhile, at the psychiatric hospital, in order to get to Andy, Chucky kills a doctor with an electroshock therapy device, and in the confusion, Andy escapes while Chucky continues to pursue him. At home, Chucky manages to knock out Andy, and as he begins to possess him with the voodoo chant, Karen and Mike arrive just in time to stop him. Chucky then wounds Mike by stabbing him in the leg before Karen manages to trap him in the fireplace, allowing Andy to light him on fire. Moments later, as Karen tends to Mike's leg, a charred Chucky continues to pursue Andy before Karen, using Mike's gun, shoots him to pieces in the hallway. Soon after, Mike's partner, Jack, arrives and initially refuses to believe that the doll is alive as he toys with the doll's severed head. However, Chucky's body suddenly bursts through a vent to strangle Jack as Chucky's head verbally berates everyone in the room. After Karen manages to pull Chucky's body off of Jack, Mike shoots him through the heart, finally killing him. Now that they are safe, Jack, Mike, Karen, and Andy leave the room as Andy stares at Chucky's remains, unsure if he is really dead. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos.